What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talk Sport to Jake. Hope you're all doing well. Bit of a shorter show today, but did want to do a show. I hope everyone had a nice, safe New Year. Wanted to do a show, so I didn't go pretty much all week without doing one. Haven't done one since, what was it, Tuesday? So let's get started. Uh, Los Angeles Angels buy out Anthony Rendon for a disaster of a contract. He was once one of the premier third basemen in the sport with the Washington Nationals. Angels gave him a 7-year contract worth $245 million. And he took that contract and ran. Literally, he was not very good for the Angels. He was always injured, had a lot of issue. One time he got in a fight with a fan. He came out a few years ago and said that, he treats this as a job and he doesn't, he didn't even like playing baseball. Just he was always just very arrogant and just a terrible player and a complete waste of money. One of the worst contracts in history of Major League Baseball is over as the Angels buy out the last year of his contract. They also signed Kirby Yates to a 1-year deal. I mean, Yates is at the end of his career. Last year was terrible with the Dodgers, 41 in the third, 5.23 ERA. But he's had some very good years. But besides that, in 23 with Atlanta, he had 3.28 ERA. He had a 1.17 ERA in Texas in 2024. Was one of the best relievers in baseball, which is what got him a deal with the Dodgers. He ended up being really bad, but he's looking for a bounce back with the Los Angeles Angels. Most likely, if he does, he'll probably end up being a trade chip. The Angels, once again, are probably going to be very, very bad. And the Houston Astros make a big move, signing Tetsuya Imai, 3 years, $54 million with some opt-outs, is what it looks like to be right now. I'll confirm when exactly the opt-outs are on Monday. But this is a big move for the Astros, who are probably going to lose their ace of the last bunch of years for Framber Valdez. And Demai, who's obviously running out of time to sign, is another guy who was looking for a long-term deal that ended up, his fellow, a Japanese superstar coming over, Mumateka Murakami, Michael King, is recently with the Padres on a similar deal like this. He had to take a short-term deal with opt-outs. I assume with the lockout looming, teams are very, very scared to make big moves. So the Astros and Imai, he's a very good pitcher in Japan, should translate very well to the big leagues, should be a very good pitcher. And Imai, he ends up with the Houston Astros, a very good move for them. Let's talk some hockey. Canada and the United States have revealed their Olympic hockey teams. First time in 12 years that we will have NHL players in the Olympics. You're going to take that 3-week gap off. New Year's Eve, the Canadian team was revealed. These are the forwards for Team Canada: Macklin, Celebrini, Anthony Cirelli, Sidney Crosby, Brandon Hagel, Bill Horvat, Nathan McKinnon, Brad Marchand, Mitch Marner, Connor McDavid, Braden Point, Sam Reinhart, Mark Stone, Nick Suzuki, and Tom Wilson. The defensemen are Drew Doughty, Thomas Harley, Cale Makar, Josh Morrissey, Colton Parako, Travis Sanheim, Shea Theodore, and Devon Taves. Their goalies are Jordan Bennington, Darcy Kemper, and Logan Thompson. So, obviously, a very stacked team for Canada. I mean, we saw it in the Four Nations. That first line being Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Sidney Crosby is absolutely nuts. It's cool to see Macklin Celebrini on the team. First pick Bobby Sharks a couple of years ago. He's emerged one of the elite players of the game already in only a couple of seasons. Obviously got a very strong group of defensemen for the most part, led by Cale Makar, multiple-time Norris winner. Jordan Bennington, very inconsistent, usually. However, he was great in the Four Nations. Kemper's a solid goal, as is Logan Thompson. I'm surprised that Sam Bennett's not on this team. He's a very good player, very tough to play against, very good offensively, very good defensively. Their reasoning was he's not a good penalty killer. Meanwhile, you put Tom Wilson on the team, who I get, he's a guy that plays both sides of the puck. He's tough to play against. He's just, dirty. Bennett can be a little dirty as well, not nearly as much as Tom Wilson. But Sam Bennett is a better player than Tom Wilson. He's even better offensively. He's even better defensively. He's just as hard to play against and not quite as dirty. And he played in the Four Nations. Tom Wilson did not. Also, Tom Wilson is a worse penalty killer than Sam Bennett statistically, so that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But overall, obviously, an incredible roster. And the United States came out with their roster earlier today. By the way, the first game is going to be on February 12th, so about a month and a half or so. These are the forwards: Matt Boldy, Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, Jake Gunsel, Jack Hughes, Clayton Keller, Dylan Larkin, Austin Matthews, JT Miller, Brock Nelson, Tate Thompson, Brady Kachuk, Matthew Kachuk, Vincent Trocheck. The defensemen are Brock Faber, Noah Hannafin, Quinn Hughes, Seth Jones, Charlie McAvoy, Jake Sanderson, Jakub Slavin, and Zach Werenski. The goalies are Connor Hellebuyck, Jake Ottinger, and Jeremy Swayman. So the United States definitely has the best defense and goaltending alignment uh, in this tournament. I'm very surprised Adam Fox didn't make it. Rangers top defenseman. I thought he should have been on the team. He was on the Four Nations. Down to that, the defense group is so incredibly good. I truly do think he's a better player than Zach Werenski, Slavin, maybe even Jake Sanderson. But that group is a really tough group. So they snubbed him. And the goaltending is ridiculous. Connor Hellebuyck is, to me, the best goalie in hockey. At least he was last year. Ottinger, to me, is probably top five. Swim's at least top seven. So if they stay healthy in the net, this should be a team that's very hard to score on. Offensively, I mean, look, they're still very good. I mean, look at some of the names they have. Obviously, it's the U.S. Olympic team. That being said, they don't match up to Canada very well offensively. I'm very surprised Jason Robertson's not on this team, one of the best young players from the sport, one of the best goal scorers in the sport. He was on the Four Nations team from the Dallas Stars. I'm very surprised he's not on it. I love JT Miller as a Ranger fan, but he should definitely be in over JT Miller should definitely be in over Vincent Trocheck. Even Brock Nelson, who's now in Colorado, he should be in over. You can even make an argument for maybe Matt Boldy, though he is really good. So I'm very surprised that he's not on the roster. There's a couple of tweaks here and there. Cole Caulfield may have deserved a spot on his roster. Maybe Lane Hudson on his roster probably should have been on it, but again, it's who exactly would you take out? It's the most competitive team in the world, and I'm just gonna pull up Sweden's roster as well. They Sweden, I mean, they're always kind of a threat, but they're not good as US and Canada. They probably aren't, but they're very good. This is their roster. Their forwards are Jesper Bratt, uh, Leo Carlson, Joel Eriksson Ek, Philip Forsberg, Pontus Holmberg, Adrian Kemp, Gabriel Landeskog, Elias Lindholm, William Nylander, Elias Patterson, Ricardo Raquel, Lucas Raymond, Alexander Wemberg, Nicholas Abanjad, defenseman, Rasmus Anderson, Philip Broberg, Jonas Brodin, Rasmus Dahlin, Oliver Ekman Larson, Gustav Forsling, Victor Hedman, and Eric Carlson. Your goalies are Philip Gustafsson, Jacob Markstrom, and Jesper Wallstead. So it does not quite measure up to US and Canada, but this is a very good team that could possibly play spoiler. Team that can beat Canada, can beat the US. Will they? I mean, they're not going to be favored to. It's not impossible, though. That is a good team. They have one of their better teams they've had in a little while now. And there's no reason why they cannot be a sneaky team and be a threat. Maybe not the threat like Canada and the US, but they can be a threat, if you ask me. NFL Hall of Fame nominees were announced. These guys who are one step closer. This is the finalists. They are as follows: offensive tackle Willie Anderson, quarterback Drew Brees, offensive guard Troy Evans, wide receiver Lai Fitzgerald, running back Frank Gore, Torrey Holt, obviously very famous wide receiver, linebacker Luke Kuechly, quarterback Eli Manning, outside linebacker Terrell Suggs, kicker Adam Vinatieri, wide receiver Reggie Wayne, D tackle Kevin Williams, tight end Jason Witten, safety Darren Wilson, offensive guard Marshall Yanda. I think there are a lot of Hall of Famers on this list. Drew Brees definitely sticks out. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Super Bowl winner with the New Orleans Saints. Lai Fitzgerald, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. Very underrated. Gets forgotten about because of how bad the Arsenal and the Cardinals were for a lot of his tenure, but he was an absolute beast for a very long time. Great postseason performer. He should be a shoo-in. I do think Frank Gore is a first-ballot Hall of Famer. I know he played forever, and the last bunch of years were great, but to play until 37 and be a starting-ish caliber running back is never been seen before besides Frank Gore for the most part. He's the third all-team leading rusher in NFL history. He should be in. Torrey Holt's the first ballot Hall of Fame, one of the great receivers of all time. Luke Kuechly absolutely should be in. He could have been easily top five in his position all time if he played longer. Terrell Suggs should be in the Hall of Fame. Another guy who was very underrated because he played at Ray Lewis and Ray kind of got overshadowed, but was very consistent for a long time. Great pass rusher. And Terry, great kicker of all time. He's got to be in. I think Reggie Wayne's a Hall of Famer. I just Wynn is absolutely a Hall of Famer. I think he has a case to be a top 5 tight end in the history of the league. I even think Darren Wilson has a case to be a Hall of Famer. I personally don't think Eli Manning should be in. It's a whole other conversation that I will get into another time, but I think he was average to above average for most of his career, had 2 great playoff runs. I don't think he should be in. But I think there are a lot of Hall of Famers on that list. And to finish this thing off, let's talk college football. College football playoff quarterfinals happened over the last 2 days. The Friday game, number 10 Miami beats number 2 Ohio State 24-14 in a huge upset as Miami advances to the semifinals. They will play in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl as they pull off a huge upset over the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Third down and a yard. And Beck hits Fletcher out of the backfield. Touchdown, Miami. After the loss of 6, another pass play that's intercepted. Taking it back is Keontae Scott. He'll go all the way. Touchdown, Miami. Saying over the middle. He's got Smith for a first down. Into the end zone, touchdown. They snap it with 1 on the play clock. Brown into the end zone. Touchdown, Miami.
To see those top seeds go 0-5.
Bain coming. Sayin gets the pass away. It's intercepted. Picked off by Lucas.
This game, scoring got started early second quarter. Carson Beck play action, finds Mark Fletcher for a touchdown. Make it 7-0 Miami. Very ensuing drive. Julian Sayin, a horrendous mistake. A brutal pick 6 there to Miami, giving them a 14-0 lead early in the second quarter. Later in the game, it's now fourth quarter early on. 17-7 Miami. Sayin finds Jeremiah Smith, who weaves his way into the end zone for a touchdown. Penalty was on Miami, gets declined. But last minute of the game, Miami gets the ball back, 17-14. They punch it in for a rushing touchdown, 24-14. 2 plays later, Sayin deep in his own territory. Horrendous throw, picked off. That will do it. Miami wins 24-14. They advance to the semifinals. First of all, let's all laugh at Ohio State. Ha ha ha. Take that, Ohio State. But there is, I think, some things we need to talk about with Ohio State in all seriousness. Can we even have a conversation about Ryan Day, please? For years, people want this guy fired. They were coming for his head, especially after he lost to Michigan last year. If he hadn't won the national championship last year, probably would have gotten fired, especially if he lost early on in that playoff. And, you know, the only 3 games they really played a legit team, not really counting Michigan. I'm not trusting like a Michigan fan. I'm first thing from a Michigan fan, trust me. I do not want to be associated with anything that Dave Portnoy is associated with, trust me. Their coach was, doing a lot of other things, not football related. And they don't match up talent for talent with Ohio State this year. They never did, even though they came in, ranked 15th in the country. If they won that game, might have made the playoff. But, if you look at their rosters, just player by player, it's very clear Ohio State was the better team. I'm not even that surprised Ohio State won 27-9. I think we all thought Michigan had a shot because they've just had their number for a few years now. That's the only reason that I thought Michigan had a shot to win that game. Nothing to do with really their rosters, if I'm being completely honest. But he loses big game after big game. He wanted him fired. He went to the national championship in the first year of a 12-team playoff. If it was still a 4-team like it had been for years, he wouldn't have even made the playoff. And then this year, first of all, the only 3 games that you played were legitimately tough games. Week 1 against Texas, you barely won. If Arch Manning wasn't utterly terrible in that game, you would have lost that game, and Texas would have been the playoff. Again, the Big Ten championship against Indiana. You lost, and then this game, coming off a bye against an inferior opponent, you lost. Like, how many big games this guy have to lose? We realize maybe he's just not that guy. He's just blessed that he coaches at Ohio State, and that he got to learn under Urban Meyer before he took the head coach job there. Like, maybe he's just not that guy. Maybe he just isn't. I'm sorry, but Ryan Day is overrated. He's not a bad coach. He's a good coach. He does win 11, 12 games every year, but Ohio State, that's not good enough. He loses. Also, Julian Sayin, he's not that guy. I've been trying to tell people, he's not that guy. He's got the 2 best wide receivers in the country, great offensive line, best defense in the country. Only 3 games where they played anybody. Against Texas, they scored 17 points. Lucky Arch Manning played absolutely horrible. In Indiana, they scored 10 points. He wasn't good enough. And against Miami, he scored 14 points and was absolutely terrible. Just, he's not good enough. I don't see how you could have this guy back next year. And look, they're Ohio State, so they should be able to obviously bring guys in. But Kendall Tate, their star receiver. They still have Jeremiah Smith, who's the best receiver in the country. The other best receiver in the country. Kendall Tate's going to go into the draft. They have a bunch of pieces from that defense that are going into the draft. Caleb Downs is going to be All-American and everything. He's going to be a top pick in the draft. Arvo Reese, your top linebacker, he's going to be a top pick in this draft. They have not one of their linebackers going to be a first-round pick. A couple of other guys from that defense are probably going to go into the draft. Maybe some pieces on the offensive line. So, then after next year, Jeremiah Smith goes into the draft. If Sandy comes back another year, who's he going to have? Again, I know it's Ohio State. They'll bring in some guys, but man, Ohio State. I'd take a look at Julian Sain and maybe take a look around the portal and see what's out there because I don't think he is that guy. For the games on New Year's Day, first off, we had number 5 Oregon destroys number 4 Texas Tech 23-0. It was even remotely close. That was a snooze fest of a game in the Orange Bowl. They move on to the Peach Bowl. Texas Tech, $28+ million roster, second most expensive in college football, and they don't even win a single playoff game. Oregon beats the brakes on them. They move on. Number 1 Indiana beats number 9 Alabama 38-3. It was complete belt to backside. Indiana easily wins the Rose Bowl. There's pure domination from start to finish. They will face Oregon in the Peach Bowl on January 9th, next Friday on ESPN at 7:30. Just complete belt to ass. Fernando Mendoza played very well. They ran the football well. They got a lot of pressure on Ty Simpson. They made plays defensively. Cignetti outcoached Kalen DeBoer by a large margin. Indiana wins. And Alabama, they got to take a look in the mirror. I thought about this last night. Alabama Crimson Tide, I compare them a lot to the New York Yankees. Once upon a time, not too long ago, it's, for Alabama a few years ago, they were still, like the team in college football, but it's been a bunch of years. They were once the team in college football, winning national championships every single year, competing for them every single year. A team that you feared, the premier program in college football. Now, they're still good. They'll win 9-10 games at least every year. They'll maybe make the playoff, but they're not going to truly compete for a national championship, and they're not feared anymore. The Yankees were once upon a time the team, the premier organization in baseball, winning World Series every year, competing for them every year, spent more than anybody else, and you fear them. Now, they're still a good team. They'll win 90 games every year and make the playoffs every year, but they're not going to truly compete for a World Series for the most part, and you don't fear them anymore. To me, I think it's a very similar thing there. And honestly, I don't really blame Kalen DeBoer. He is a very good coach. He's just not a fit for Alabama. First of all, whoever took my job was kind of screwed. If it wasn't, anyone who's, because of Nick Saban, the standard that he set there, if a guy didn't come in and win national championship after national championship is going to consider it a failure, he's come in. I mean, very rarely do you take over a program and by year 2 you make the playoff, you're in your conference championship, it's considered a failure. But I still stand at Alabama. It is what it is. In fact, if he lost to Oklahoma, he probably would have left for Michigan. I wouldn't have been surprised. And if this happens, I guess, in next year or the year after, he probably gets canned because he's just not good enough for Alabama. I said at the time, whoever takes this job, even before DeBoer took it, it's gonna go 9-3 for 4 years in a row, 10-2, losing the first round of the playoff every year, which normally would be very good, but for them, it's not good enough, and we'll get fired, and then maybe someone with legit Alabama ties who fits the program and might take it. But, he's a good coach. Like, he had a great thing going at Washington. Took him to a national championship, but right before he went to Alabama. But it's just not a fit, and it's just the expectations put on him just weren't fair. But the Sugar Bowl, we finally got a good game. Number 6 Ole Miss up to number 3 Georgia. Without Lane Kiffin, of course, a crazy upset. Huge win for them. 39-34. Crazy back and forth game. Ole Miss with the last second field goal with 6 seconds to go to take the lead. Of course, that last second safety. Ole Miss beats Georgia 39-34. So a lot to break down in that clip. It started in the second quarter with 6-0 Ole Miss. Pump fake from Gunnar Stockton. He runs it in for a touchdown. He did play very well in this game for the most part. 7-6 Georgia. Then I think the very next drive turns out Chambers finds his man. Touchdown. Put him up 12-7. They would go for two. Chambers on the design run would get sacked. So I don't get it, but still 12-7 Ole Miss in the second quarter. Much later in the quarter, about 4.5 to go. Gunnar Stockton, just in field goal range. Great play to improvise. Find his man. Georgia player breaks a bunch of tackles. Gets all the way down to the goal line. First and goal. And then the very next play, they punch it in for a touchdown. Puts them up 14-12. 4 minutes to go in the half. And now they would eventually go up 21-12. They would recover a fumble and run it back for a touchdown. That was really bad clock management by Ole Miss. You had 15 seconds. You're in field goal range. That guy's got to get out of bounds there. Because remember, you can't spike it on fourth down. They were trying to run the field goal. It was a complete disaster. Even the announcer said it. You go down 21-12 going into the second half. But then second half, still 21-12, about 6 minutes to go, third quarter, 4th and 3, Ole Miss goes for it. Just past midfield, and Chambers throws a dart to his man. He breaks a bunch of tackles. He's brought down inside the 10-yard line. Second and goal from the 7-yard line. Lacey, who had a pretty serious shoulder injury, we didn't think he was going to play, ends up playing, runs it in for a touchdown. 24-19 Georgia, after they go down and get a field goal. Ole Miss would run it in for a touchdown. 25-24, two-point conversion. Shameless finds his man. Two-point conversion is good. 27-24, Ole Miss. Next drive, 4th and 2 for Georgia. 9.5 to go, rather. Sack fumble for Ole Miss. I thought Georgia probably should have punted. They were deep enough in their own territory. They were on their own 33-yard line. You could have pinned them relatively deep if you can get a stop. You put yourself in a good position to go down, at least, get a field goal with not a lot of time left, or score a touchdown and put Ole Miss in. You got to either score a touchdown quickly or you lose. I would have probably punted. I get why they went for it. It's only 2 yards. Stockton has got to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker. That is on him. But Ole Miss would take over and right away would capitalize pretty much a couple plays later. Great pass from Chambers back shoulder to Lacey again. That guy is so good. Touchdown, 34-24. 7 minutes to go, though. Georgia's not giving up. Stockton throws it deep. Nice catch. Great back shoulder from Stockton. 34-31 Ole Miss now. 7 minutes to go. Georgia gets the ball back late. They're running a two-man just before field goal range. Stockton, 3rd and 9. Deep pass, incomplete, but passing interference. Kind of some people didn't like the call. I thought it was the right call. The rules analyst said the same thing. So 15 yards. Automatic first for Georgia. A little bit later, a few plays later at 2nd and 7 minutes, 17 to go in the red zone. Stockton going for the end zone. Incomplete, but it's going to be defensive holding. Probably save a touchdown now, so it's probably not a bad penalty to take. But automatic first down. A few plays later, 3rd and goal, minute to go. Stockton passes broken up in the back of the end zone. That will lead to a 24-yard field goal with about a minute to go. So tie game. But Ole Miss, one more shot. They had 56 seconds to go, no timeouts. They had the ball in their own 30, 32 seconds, 3rd and 5. Shameless, deep pass, perfect throw, big play down to the 30-yard line. They would end up with a field goal try of a few plays later with a few seconds left, 9 seconds to go. 47-yarder. It is perfect. Ole Miss wins 37-34 in a crazy game. Weird ending, obviously, on the kickoff. The Ole Miss player tried to do a weird cross-field lateral. It looked like it went out of bounds. They had the stage on the field. They had to pull everyone off the field, saying it's a safety. Georgia has to do a free kick, so then they did an onside. Almost let them recover because they thought the clock was going to run out. Everyone went back on the field again. Referee said, no, the clock didn't actually run out. Georgia got one more play from their own 30-yard line. Ended up being one of those crazy lateral plays. Obviously didn't work. They took a penalty anyway. It was very, very weird. But Ole Miss wins 39-34. They will play Miami in the Fiesta Bowl on January 8th, which is on Thursday at 7:30 on ESPN. All right. So we got for you guys today. Till next time, so long, and have a great day.